Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Coffee and Football, presented by Texas Road. I'm Blake Monroe, where I'm joined daily by Bobby Burton and Jerry Hamilton. Tell us where you're checking in from this morning. Get your questions in. Let us know what you're drinking as well. We'd love to see that. And guys, we're going to just jump right into some coach talk here because the coaches met with the media yesterday, both Sark and Levy. And we're actually going to start with Sark. One of the things that we're asked on here quite often is, should he hire an OC? And he was asked that yesterday if he should ever think about giving up play call duties. And this was his response.
That's why I got hired. I was a really good offensive coordinator. So I believe in what we're able to do. You know, every year we have to continually evolve, and there's years we're going to be better on offense than we are on defense. There's going to be years we're better on defense than we are on offense, you know. But it's like if I was the best outside sales guy and then I had a startup company, surely I'm going to go to the sales meetings if I'm trying to sell something, right? And so if that's one of your strengths, I'm always going to tap into the strength that I have. And I think, being a play caller on offense is one of my strengths. Some may disagree. That's okay.
Yeah, he actually said some other stuff as well. He said, look, I was hired at the University of Texas to call plays. That's one of the reasons why I got the job. He's right. That is an accurate statement. But what is also an accurate statement, he's hired to win games at the University of Texas. And so what helps him do that the best moving forward, I think, needs to be under consideration. I will say this, all this talk of changing offensive coordinators or doing whatever in the middle of the season, that's a discussion, okay, that needs to be had at the end of the season because it ain't happening in the middle of the year.
Yeah.
I mean, I hear him. I disagree with him in his take slightly. Like, even though he was hired, that's accurate. The idea that he has to stay that way is not necessarily true if you're winning football games and evolving as a coach and as a program. But talking about it today does nothing until at the end of the season because they're not going to make a move in the middle of the season on this stuff. They're just not.
Yeah. And so Woodcrest brings up this on that subject. He was hired to bring the same explosive offense he had at Alabama. And yes, but Nick Saban also had a very physical team full of first-round draft picks that were also physical and had a bunch of first-round draft picks and like 3 and 4 wide receiver at one point in time and the first-round pick at quarterback and 3 on 4. I mean,
first-round pick at running back.
Yeah, I mean, but they were also super physical.
Yeah.
So, yes, and nothing's going to happen during the season. And Woodcrest, I'm not saying you're wrong. I was just adding to what you said because I do think there's a difference there. I like Bobby said, there's nothing's going to happen during the season. I look, when things start to go bad on one side of the ball, it's fire coaches, players aren't very good and all this. Saturday was much more than any one thing or one position that was a total failure. And I don't want to say total because wide receivers were open. The ball was just sailed or not even close to them. So I don't want to say everything because I don't think that's fair necessarily. Jack injuries can't help the ball's thrown 5 yards over his head when he's wide open. Right. So, but it was everything that caused it.
I would challenge you a slight bit on wide receivers because they did not block on the perimeter.
No, perimeter blocking's been an issue all year.
Yeah. So, I mean, there are elements that failed in every aspect. But you know what? I want to say this. One of the things and I wrote this morning on Texas football. We've heard Michael Taft all year talk about the team and the culture. Other players haven't been as effusive about it, I think. And yesterday we heard Ethan Burke talk about it, and I thought he did a really good job. I mean, he felt like Kentucky was their best win of the year, Jerry, because they went on the road and did something, and they won as a team. Colin Simmons in the postgame, Jerry, in his comments, Coach Sark said that the identity of this team is defense and special teams. He goes, no. It's also offense, too. We win as a team. I thought there were some redeeming things said by some Texas players that, in my opinion, guys, really did well in that regard. So.
And he was asked about the offensive woes as well, fellas. And he said he has to do a better job. I'm going to play all that clip next.
Hey, offensively, I've got to do a better job. Putting all of our players in position to be successful. And that's blocking people. That's throwing the ball to open people. That's running routes precisely where they need to be. So that's on nobody but me. And so that's when you can look in the mirror first and say, okay, I'm responsible to try to get this fixed and get better at it. I'm very comfortable with that.
Yeah. We agree.
Yes.
Right.
Moving on.
Yeah.
I mean, look, when it's the worst offensive output since Sean Watson got fired after a Notre Dame game in 2015, then yeah, there's nowhere to go.
Yeah. He's aware of it. I think that anybody that thinks that he's not aware of the chatter after a performance like that, his responses, in my opinion, show that he is very aware of how poorly they performed on Saturday on offense. I mean, that was a head coach that didn't shy away. It wasn't the same Saturday night speak, where 50% of the teams lost, right? Did you get that sense too, Jerry, from listening to him? He was no longer into the 50% of the SEC. No, he was taking some I don't want to say grenades, but he was taking some questions and meeting them head on. He knew that the offense didn't do well in that regard. All right, hey, before we go on to some other things we got to talk about today, we got a Lane Kiffin quote coming up that Jerry and I thought were funny. We need to tell everybody about Texas Road. With the full support of multiple crews performing utility, dirt work, concrete, and asphalt, Texas Road provides on-site concrete through volumetric trucks for smaller volumes. They're able to compete and complete road building in a high-profile environment, new subdivisions, old roads that need improvement, etc., highways. Reach out to Texas Road. That's Texas Road. Rick Valro and his team are engineering-based and really able to provide first-rate service. That is texasroad.com. Also stop by Rick's Bar up in Jonestown, Lone Star Bar. It's 27-degree cold brews up at Lone Star Bar.
Well, first, before we get to Lane Kiffin, Jeff Levy met with the media yesterday as well. He had a very quick press conference, Jerry. We were talking about
I watched
before
this
the
morning.
show.
I sent it to y'all. I was like, no opening statement. Blake, you mentioned the opening statement, just right in the questions for 15 minutes and walked out the door.
Yeah, and he was asked about Texas only twice.
Yeah, only twice in 15 and a half minutes. So here's one of them.
Yeah, so I'm going to play y'all both clips. He talks about special teams, and then he was, of course, asked about Arch Manning as well. But here's what he had to say.
They're really aggressive, and they've got great personnel. Like, when you have great personnel, you got a real chance to be great on teams. And they've recruited in an incredible way. They've got great depth on their roster, and so they have posed some problems that way. And right now they're a team that's really played to their identity, and they have played great defense. I think they're top 3 in the country in scoring, top 5 in total defense. They've been great situationally. They've created turnovers, but then they've been really, really good on teams. Yeah, I think what they're doing right now, I kind of just mentioned that they're playing to who they are, and they're trying to protect the ball. They're trying to be incredibly high percentage, very timely when they're pushing the ball down the field and giving him a ton of freedom to go run the offense. I think Sark understands exactly who they are defensively, and they've been really, really good. And so for them, I think it's about running the football at a really high level, being able to have some play pass in it, and then taking great care of the ball.
And that's all he had to say.
That's all I had to say. Yeah, that was the questions about Texas. It's interesting, Bobby. They talked to the Brent Venables, right? The Oklahoma staff. So Mississippi State's going to be well prepared, right? And what Jeff Levy's talking about is what Texas did against Oklahoma, not necessarily against Kentucky. That's my issue.
Yeah, I want to say this. That he definitely is when he's talking about a high percentage and that sort of stuff. I don't know that he's talked much to the Oklahoma staff, Jerry. They did not part kindly. And so I know that he used to work there, but when I say they didn't part kindly, they
No,
truly
that's true.
did not. So we'll see how that goes. Look, Mississippi State hasn't won a SEC conference game in 2 years.
Yeah.
Okay. Now they are vastly improved from a year ago and even from 2 years ago. They took Tennessee to overtime earlier this year. They beat, by the way, Arizona State that just beat Texas Tech. They lost to the A&M at home. And then last week, they lost to Florida, Jerry, 21-23. They were in field goal range, and Blake Shapen threw an interception on a zone blitz to a defensive lineman. They are a better team today than they were a year ago.
Oh, not even close.
Or even, I mean, they're a much different program, I think.
Oh, yeah. And by the way, if you go watch, all you have to do is watch the condensed version on ESPN of Mississippi State, Florida. Shapen missed 2 or 3 walk-in touchdowns in that game, too. Just straight overthrows of touchdowns. I mean, that's a game. That's one of those games that Mississippi State really thinks they should have won. And they should have won that game. I mean, DJ Lagway threw 2 more interceptions against Power 4 teams. So that is not changing for him. He still made his mistakes with the football. But Mississippi State, I mean, Shapen missed 2 or 3 walk-in touchdowns, just overthrows in that game. Else that game's a lot different. And people that cover Florida that texted me said, got lucky, shouldn't have won that one. Quarterback just missed the – and then when I watched it, I was like, yeah. So Mississippi State's a better team. Their best linebacker hybrid guy is suspended for the first half of this game for targeting. Now, how much of an impact will that have in a game plan for Texas versus him versus Mississippi State? We'll see. The other thing with Mississippi State is, will Bothwell play? Fluff Bothwell, the stud running back transfer from South Alabama, he got carted off against A&M, which they thought was season-ending. It's not season-ending. He missed a Florida game. Will he be back? Or they're saying it's not season-ending. Is there any chance he's back? Because he's a difference maker for them. They ran the ball pretty well against Florida, but they didn't even have their guy, who was maybe a top 2 or 3 running back in the SEC based on this season alone. So we'll see where he's at health-wise. But Mississippi State's a lot better team. Brennan Thompson was running behind those guys at Florida Saturday. I mean, he was racing by those guys. And they missed 2 or 3 touchdowns. Mississippi State absolutely should have won that game. And you could argue the Tennessee game was right there for them too. So they have a 15-game losing streak, as Blake put up, and that's going to be their rally cry, right, Bobby, going into this week?
Yeah, it will be. And if you're talking about the running game, I think it's important to remember, if you watched the Texas-Mississippi State game a year ago, Mississippi State controlled the ball for much of the first half. Devon Booth was the running back for Mississippi State last year. He is still there. They just added another running back that is actually better, and that's one Jerry's talking about, Fluff Bothwell, who's a transfer from South Alabama, Major Applewhite's team. Bothwell, just to give you a comparison, is averaging more, right at a yard more per carry than Booth. One of them has 84 carries and averaging 5.5. That's Bothwell. The other one has 81 carries and is averaging 4.6. So they've got some running backs. They've even got a third running back that gets some time, Xavier Gayton. So we'll see how it all goes for them. But I feel like it's going to be run heavy, then throw over the top. To Jerry's point, we're going to have to wait and see what all happens.
And Daz Garrett says, as long as they have Blake Shapen as their quarterback, I don't care who they have out there. If Blake Shapen misses all the throws 100%, I mean, he's got to – look, we talk about how Arch Manning has to hit the throws, but Shapen has to hit those throws. I mean, Mississippi State was wide open, and those were missed. Those weren't contested throws. Those were just straight overthrows of touchdowns.
Shapen's the former Baylor quarterback, by the way. That played for Dave Aranda for a couple of years before going over to Mississippi State and following Jeff Levy.
Well, let's talk about Lane Kiffin for a moment.
let's lighten the mood, baby.
Yeah.
This is awesome. He took on the Sooners a little yesterday. Brent Venables.
Yes, he did. Let's play that clip.
Film study of signals. I mean, as I just tell you how it is. I think they do a great job of that. So if you study people really well, you know tendencies, and then you have enough confidence as a coach to go after those, that seems what he does. And seems like, they've got a really good beat on the plays that are coming when they're called. And they do a great job of going and taking those away. When you look at the Auburn game, I mean, I told Hugh after the game watching it, I mean, you might want to switch the signals. Like, it looks like they have the plays. The middle safety's running down to steal slants, which is very abnormal.
You may have just answered my next question, but do you get with that in mind? Do you have to kind of shake everything up from a signal standpoint this week, or do you do that every week anyway?
No, we're going to keep our same signals.
I mean, I guess I was wondering, do you do that every week, or
Florida's going to love
is that
him.
something that you have to specifically address because of who you're playing?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And competitively, I can't answer that for you.
Oh, Florida will love him. Florida will love him.
Yeah.
If he indeed takes that job and is offered,
Yeah. The Bull Gators want him. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I mean, that's one way to get teams to not try to steal signals the week you're playing them, is to call them out publicly for it. And
Yeah.
people very aware of it, which is kind of smart and trolling on his part.
That is the 11 o'clock game this weekend, by the way. They are at Ole Miss is at Oklahoma. This is the stretch for the Sooners that is they go, Ole Miss goes to OU. So Oklahoma has Ole Miss at home. Ole Miss ranked number 8 in the country.
Oh, yeah.
Then they go to Tennessee. Tennessee ranks 17th in the country. They follow Tennessee with a week off and then have Alabama at Alabama.
Yep.
Then they go, then they have Missouri at home, and then they have LSU at home. The Sooners, I mean, look, they close with 5 top 20 teams.
Yep.
Here's the
question.
top 20 teams. I don't know what LSU is going to look like at the end of the year, because they look like not good right now. But everybody else in that group should be tough for the Sooners.
Well, here's the question. If he goes 2-3 and gets to 8-4, does he still have a job?
I think so.
It's hard. It's hard to fire somebody at 8-4 if you beat 2 ranked opponents in the last 5 weeks of the year.
And he has most of his defense returning.
Yeah.
Which clearly is the strength of their team.
Yeah. Yeah. That it'll be interesting. Because now, if you go 1-4 in that stretch, you're probably gone. I mean, we're talking about a 1-game margin for error when your job's on the line like this, in my opinion. But then again, there's some, like, FSU's keeping Mike Norvell. And we talked about this with this crazy.
Are they keeping him after this year?
I mean, that's what came out yesterday. We'll see if it changes.
I thought what came out yesterday was they're going to evaluate at the end of the year.
Probably. So
that's
we'll
different.
See.
That's
we'll
different,
see.
Gary.
I think people are considering kicking the can down the road that have huge buyouts on these guys because of the job openings this year in the carousel. That's what I think's happening. I think people are kind of like, well, Florida and Penn State are open. How many big jobs are going to be open? How many big jobs can be open? What's that carousel look like? Do you somewhat kick the can down the road a year? I think the way things play out is going to, like at Auburn, if Auburn loses at Arkansas, that probably accelerates that this weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, FSU, from a financial standpoint, they're not an SEC team. They're not Florida. So that is what's going to be interesting there is, I mean, you're talking about $100 million to fire him, the assistants, the buyout, bring in the next guys. I'm not sure they're in financial place as some of their competitors are like that, but we'll see.
Well, let's do a super chat real quick, and then we'll talk some recruiting here in just a moment as well. But Edgar wants to know, how creative can you be with 12 personnel on offense? Can it plug our protection problems and simultaneously provide some versatility on offense, or is it too predictable? Who would the 2 tight ends be?
Well, they've been using a ton of two tight end personnel, and primarily it's been Jack Andrews, the transfer from Cal, and Jordan Washington. I guess redshirt freshman from down in the Houston area. Look, they have been doing that, and they've been using them in ways to try to protect the passer and or gain a number in the run game. I think they've been too ineffective largely as run blockers and pass protectors. They have not been good in that regard. Like I'd give them, I'm not saying I'd give them a failing grade, but it'd be a C- or below. I don't think they've had an opportunity in the passing game enough to be given an A, for example. I mean, Jack Indries hasn't dropped the ball. Jordan Washington has made some big plays. But, it's not so much 12 personnel because Texas has run, 35% of their plays out of 12 personnel all season, Edgar. And for those unaware, 12 personnel, it's one running back, two tight ends. So you say 12 personnel, that's what that means. 11 is one running back and one tight end, 10 personnel, et cetera. You get the idea.
All right, Jerry, recruiting, a new offer went out. You want to tell us about it?
Yeah, Torrey Davis out of Boulder Fairview. His father played defensive back at Colorado in the 90s, 94 through 96 or 93 through 96. He was a UCLA commitment since June. He picked UCLA over OVs to Utah, Kansas State, and Oklahoma State. He decommitted September 22nd. He's about 6'1", 185, 190. Having a huge season there. Doesn't play against a bunch of speed, but he's a really good football player. Has great ball skills. But since that time, Wisconsin's offered him. Washington offered him. Texas offered him. A couple others. Iowa's offered him as well. He took an OV to Wisconsin October 11th last weekend. It was recently. I may have been October 4th, but took an OV to Wisconsin. But we'll see. Texas will try to get him in. Same thing with Micah Smith, the offensive lineman of Vero, which talks are ongoing about that. Texas is working to get those guys in. They're really targeting November 22nd weekend for the Arkansas game for official visits for guys. That's when Braylon Hodge is scheduled to come back, the linebacker out of Cherry Creek in Colorado. Torrey Davis, though, a guy that Texas, we said Texas was evaluating defensive backs. We mentioned Dylan Waters, a corner at Fort Bend Marshall, that Mark Orfe had gone to see, right? So they're in evaluation mode. They have 3 DBs in this class from the high school level. They obviously want 4. And then after going to see Hayward Howard, it'll be interesting to see where Hayward Howard plays. He's playing as much safety as he is corner, even more safety than corner. And there's some that think over at Edna Carr, he could end up being a 6'4", 210-pound safety long term. But Torrey Davis here, Bobby, I like more as a safety nickel versus a corner, but a guy who's got really good ball skills. Dad was a really good player. This is actually a good early eval by UCLA. He's having a monster season as a senior. I mean, he's 1,000+ receiving yards. Again, though, he doesn't play against speed necessarily. So any really good athlete's just going to race by these guys. These kids can't close angles, so you're going to make big play after big play. But he's got really good ball skills is what he has. And he has that ability as a playmaker that's just natural. You can see it, even though he's not playing against the highest level speed. And I'm not in competitions because kids they can be physical players, they can be good football players, but they just not be fast football players. So I don't want to say terrible competition. Sometimes that's not fair to kids, but they're not fast athletes, is what I would say.
Yeah, I think that he's a good all-around athlete. What, he averaged 12 points a game in basketball last year as a junior, Jerry.
Yeah,
he does some nice things. I think it's interesting more of talk about who the 3 post-senior offers are, right? 2 of them were committed to UCLA.
Yeah.
Torrey Davis, this defensive back from Boulder, Colorado, and Micah Smith, the offensive lineman from Vero Beach. Both were committed to UCLA. Well, UCLA let go of their coach. So those guys both uncommitted or decommitted from UCLA. Braylon Hodges, the other linebacker from Colorado, was committed to Michigan State. He decommitted. So it's almost, Jerry, like they're going after guys where teams are either not as good maybe, and they're kind of finding guys that are committed elsewhere that they think are better than that, or they're going after guys that have been fired. I kind of wonder, and I know you do too, what's going to happen with all those Florida commitments
Oh yeah,
now that Billy Napier's gone. I mean, there are some guys that are going to Florida because they like Billy Napier. Is that going to shake anybody loose on that tree, including Kendall Gerville, who I think has a big NIL deal with him?
he has a big NIL deal. Texas has still been talking to Gerville. Gerville, I think, has been likely before Napier's official firing to come in November. I would be a little surprised if he's not on campus in November at this point. I'm talking about Kendall Gerville from Fort Myers, who had an ACL injury. Tells you how much Texas likes him. He had an ACL injury game 1 this year, missed the whole season. But I think there's a good chance, he's really the only kid. Well, it'll be interesting to see if Texas makes a move on anybody committed to Florida, but he's really the main kid that Texas loved that was committed to Florida. Like, Texas didn't make the late push on Hezzy Kent, right? I think they decided tight end. Hezzy Kent wants to be a tight end. I think they decided what they were seeing early on from Emory Winston and Nick Townsend, that they were good at tight end. And so we'll see. They have some offensive line guys committed at Florida. I'm interested to see if anybody else makes a move for some of those Florida kids as well. Be interested to see if any other SECs make a move outside of an Auburn, right? I mean, but Micah Smith, again, that's Ohio State now, the former UCLA commit. That's Ohio State over Texas until he schedules the Texas OV. He already made an OV to Ohio State. He has a teammate, TJ Alford, out of Vero Beach High, who signed with Ohio State last year.
Good stuff. Okay, let's see here, Bobby. I'm going to let you tell everyone this morning about Kirby Lane.
Yeah, absolutely. Kirby Lane All Day Cafe is serving up chef-driven, scratch-made recipes and the local Austin vibe we all love. And now dinner's better than ever. We're talking chef-driven entrees, seasonal specials, and craft cocktails designed to elevate your night out, whether it's date night, family night, or just catching up with old friends. Kirby Lane keeps it local with scratch-made dishes and the unmistakable taste of Austin. Dinner done right from a family-owned Austin original since 1980. Explore the menu today at KirbyLaneCafe.com. Again, that is KirbyLaneCafe.com. 45 years celebrating in business there in Austin, and they've expanded now in the San Antonio as well.
And I'm going to tell everyone this morning about Prize Picks, because we make decisions every day. But on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. And Prize Picks is simple to play. You're just going to pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get those picks right, you can cash in and win up to 2,000 times money. It's the best way to get in on the sports action in more than 40 states, including California, Florida, Georgia, and, of course, right here in Texas. And this week, I have Marcel Reed over 220.5 passing yards, Arch Manning under 214.5 passing yards, and John Mateer to go under as well at 249.5. So come join me on those picks or make your own in less than 60 seconds. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code ONTEXAS when you sign up. You're going to get $50 in lineups after you play your first, or $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code ONTEXAS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. And that's Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. And one other one I'm going to tell you about, Bubs. I love Bubs. And I told you yesterday when this product came in, I was a believer in it already. I'd read the reviews online. I was telling my wife about it, told her it was unflavored. It makes your joints feel stronger, your hair and your nails grow healthier, and it makes your skin look smoother. And, of course, I was 100% correct. She will tell you as well. She loves it. We ended up buying another one. We have one at home, one in her classroom. She puts it in her black coffee. I put it in a protein shake. It's unflavored. You can't taste it, and it's absolutely great for you. There's no junk, 0 sugars, 0 sweeteners, or fillers. It's from grass-fed, pasture-raised cattle, and it mixes seamlessly. Collagen is the most abundant protein, and it's often referred to as the glue that holds our bodies together. Bubs helps restore collagen levels closer to what your body naturally had in its youth. It works great for me. I promise it's going to work great for you too. Live better longer, and for a limited time only, our listeners are getting 20% off at Bubs Naturals by using code ONTEXAS at checkout. Just head to bubsnaturals.com, use code ONTexas, and you're all set. After you purchase, they're going to ask where you heard about them. Please support OTF and tell them that we sent you. Well, let's jump right back into Super Chats, guys.
Let's do it.
More this morning, and we're just going to start here. Actually, I want to go to this one from yesterday, and I put it up on the screen, but we didn't read it. We were talking about it at the time. This is from Travis Bingham. He said, thoughts, Gooseby has been awful. Left pocket collapses every snap. Also, the missed throws at this point will never be resolved. Are just cooked 100%.
Travis. Gooseby hasn't been awful, first of all. He doesn't get a lot of help at left guard, and that's been an issue when he's playing next to a guy that's either new or was a little limited out of the gate. I don't agree with that. Has he been perfect? Absolutely not. Has he been awful? Absolutely not, in my opinion. As for Arch being cooked, he certainly looked like it at times against Kentucky on Saturday. But I mean, I went back and actually, Jerry and I are insane for doing this, but we're glutton for punishment. I went back and watched the game a third time this morning. Literally, I was up at 4:30 in the morning. And look, Kentucky decided to bring the rush. They were playing 7 and 8 men in the box to stop any kind of run, and they were just throwing everything they had at the quarterback to try to get the ball out of his hands quickly. And I mean, he took more than one on the chin. I'll just put it that way. That's why I'm a little concerned with what Texas did offensively. They didn't try to just move the ball around. They didn't try to just roll him out. I mean, I think Arch rolled out on purpose twice all game. You made him a sitting duck a little bit. And so I'm not so worried about Arch being cooked. I'm not worried about Gooseby being awful. I think that was a poor game plan by Steve Sarkisian. Let's go from there and see what Sark has in store for Mississippi State. One thing about Mississippi State, I will say this: their quarterback completes 67% of his passes, and they try to control the ball.
Yeah. It's going to be a low possession game.
Yeah, Texas needs to try to be a similar offense at this stage of their development, not deep crossing routes. They don't have the offensive line for it. They may not have the receivers for it at some level, and they may not have the quarterback for it yet. So I think at some level, the thought there needs to change. It's just my opinion. It's not Arch. It's not, as we started this discussion, and Jerry said it pretty well. It's not just Arch. It's not just the offensive line. It's not just this or that. It's everything. They have to lean into what they do well. And they didn't do that, in my opinion, against Kentucky.
Yeah. And look, if you it starts with physicality. You have to be a physical football team. I said it after Florida, and you have to be a physical football team. Go watch Vanderbilt hit people on offense. You have to be physical, man. That's why it's like, talk about everything. And look, Arch played. There was some UTEP Arch moments.
Yeah.
Against Kentucky. There really were. I mean, there was 100 yards of passes probably left on the field there. Throws that you have to make. Just like Blake Shapen missed 3 touchdowns against Florida last weekend. Throws you have to make to play quarterback at a high enough level. But this game is about physicality. This league's about physicality. And you have to go out and win the physical battle before anything else. Everything else is just talking points until you win the physical battle. That's where I come out on all this. You have to be more physical than the team you're playing against.
Well, when we started the show this morning, we played that clip of Sark talking about if an OC should be hired. We have a couple of super chats regarding that. We'll start with Jerry's Jack Links. Thank you for the super chat. Says, if Sark hired an OC that had this type of production through 7 games, he would fire him. Not saying he should, but I bet he would. 2026, baby.
Yes, I agree with you. I frankly agree with you. Look, I mean, Texas has not been a prolific offense in a year and a half, 2 years. And ever since Jonathan Brooks went down, I think they've had problems. If you want to know the truth, because he's an inside outside back. And when Cedric Baxter wasn't there last year, they were not they need a running back that can run up the middle and go outside. And Trey Wisner, I think, is a terrific outside zone runner. I don't think he's a between the tackles guy at an elite level. And that's the only place there was to run on Saturday. And that is a real issue. Arizona State did the same thing to Texas. Stop the outside zone. They don't run power because Trey Wisner's not a power runner. I mean, it's the bottom line. I mean, first play of the second half. Watched it again today or this morning. 8-yard gain in between the tackles. Okay. Trey Wisner also had a 5 or 6 yard run in the fourth quarter in between the tackles. Christian Clark had a 7 or 8 yard run in between the tackles. But neither of those guys are inside runners. And so Texas didn't push running the ball inside. They went outside a bunch. And I think that has to fundamentally change, but they're not changing unless Cedric Baxter returns, I think. And hopefully he is coming back. We need to talk a little bit about that. Sark did give us a little indication that Baxter is back and practicing with the team. Said he had a good practice on Monday morning. So we'll see if maybe that is a feather in the cap of the Texas offense. I don't know, but they've got to be able to run the ball inside, because running it outside, if that's all you've got, people are just going to, in the SEC in particular, where they have so much speed.
Yes.
Getting outside on people is tough.
There's a reason it's a physical league. You have to be able to run at the level of athletes that you're going up against in the SEC. You have to be able to physically hold up and run the football against those. And look, I mean, Georgia, physical team. They have two freshmen on the offensive line. They've started 6 different offensive line rotations this year. First year starting quarterback, 2 running backs as first year starting. I know Frazier started a few games, but really, truly first year starting. Bunch of new wideouts. You got to be physical, man.
And one other one regarding that. Let's see. Hook to a T says Sark was the offensive coordinator for 2 of the most successful coaches in college history. Does Sark think he's better than Pete and Nick?
Just because he's calling plays as opposed to those guys not calling plays. Nick and Pete were both defensive-minded coaches first, by the way. And Pete Carroll absolutely helped call defensive plays at USC. And Nick Saban had his fingerprints all over the Alabama defense, no matter whether it was Will Muschamp, Kirby Smart, or whoever his defense coordinator was.
Yeah.
So I think that's a little unfair comparison.
And then our super chat from Jonah Williams Enthusiast says, I know this team has a lot of problems, but a healthy Baxter and Wisner fix a lot of them.
Hope so. Hope so. We just went over that. What does Cedric Baxter bring to the table that Trey Wisner does not?
A healthy Cedric Baxter is I know people argue, but he's a good downhill runner. He's a good between the tackles player. I mean, and he's a really good pass pro guy. He's your best guy in pass pro. Does that mean anybody's 100%? Nobody's 100%, but he's your best guy in pass pro. He's a guy that knows the offense as well as a quarterback knows the offense. I think he brings a lot to. I think the combination of the two is what brings a lot. But he is a physical in between the tackles player. And to Bobby's point, I mean, he's just got to get healthy enough for it to show. And now he's had the hamstring coming off the knee, which happens a lot with guys that tore up their knee. But he's a downhill physical runner that's really good in pass pro. That's like having a second quarterback out there in terms of making calls and signals. I mean, I always go back to this. Nick Saban on the SEC media days 2 years ago said he was the best. Cedric Baxter was the best running back they played against. He didn't say runner. He said running back that Alabama played against his last year at Alabama. I mean, Nick Saban's not one that just spouts off a bunch of crap. Center Baxter's a player, but he's got to get healthy for it to ever show.
He's also the best pass protector.
Yeah.
Of the running backs.
Yeah.
I mean, look, and I want to say this. There was one major successful passing play in the fourth quarter against Kentucky. That was a true drop back pass. And that was the third down completion to DeAndre Moore. That was a short kind of an in route out of a bunch set to the right. And that was really pass protected well. There was no one around Arch, and he delivered it. Weisner filled the middle of the hole. I mean, everybody held up, and they made a play when they had to have it. Cedric Baxter, Trey Weisner often gets knocked back a step or two when he takes on a blocker. He just does, because he doesn't have that sort of like girth in his lower body. Baxter's a little different. He can provide you a little more sturdiness in pass protection. And this is not, I want to be clear, all this conversation about Trey Weisner can't do this or whatever. There are things that Trey Weisner does that are better than Cedric Baxter.
Right.
I mean, so this isn't a this or that. It's just an explaining of the two differences. But there are elements of that game that could be very helpful to Texas that are outside of just running the ball up the middle and being able to run between the tackles and make 3 or 4 yards instead of 1 or 2. I mean, 2nd and 6 is a hell of a lot different than 2nd and 9.
Yes. Texas has to live in 3rd and medium and 3rd and short.
Yeah.
They have to. And if not, then in this league, I mean, it's very difficult, especially where this team's at. Dave Rall says Weisner vision is elite. I agree. So, yeah, I mean, that's Cloris Robin says, who's the fool that told you Georgia will lose? They're on the brink. They've been on the brink. That fool's a pretty good coach. But Kirby's won the games. He's found the way to win the games. And that person knows him very well.
Real burnt with the super chat says we're offensively limited. Quarterback, offensive line, spreads, blocking, etc. Overall, Sark's refusal to hit on short, quick passes is a big problem. Cataract removal?
I don't think it's that. I do think that and we talked about this a little yesterday, the personnel is not as conducive to the quick passing game as it was a year ago. You had Jaden Blue out of the backfield. I mean, even if that's not blocked well, he's fast enough to give you 3 to 4 yards. If it's blocked well, it can give you 15 to 20 on a swing pass. Texas does not have that speed at running back for the quick game. And I think that furthermore, I think that the blocking on the perimeter has been really bad. Now, either teams have decided to approach and play the blocks differently than they did a year ago, or guys like Ryan Wingo, DeAndre Moore, Parker Livingston, and Emmett Mosley aren't holding up as well. I mean, there's a lot of that. I'd also like to see us use the tight end more than we have at this point. I mean, Rod and I talked about this actually, I think it was Sunday. You know, we think about it. You realize that this time last year, Texas has actually targeted the tight end almost as many times as they did with Gunnar Helm. The difference was they never targeted Juan Davis. Everything was Gunnar Helm. Now they're targeting injuries and Jordan Washington. But I wonder if getting that connection with your quarterback might be important for that position. Like, you want more reps to your safety valve, right? Who's the safety valve? Jordan Washington's going to be different than Jack Indries in that regard. So I kind of wonder if that part is a little different, because Quinn and Gunnar Helm, they had 3 years together. You know, Arch and Jack Indries have 3 months.
Arch has got to hit his layups.
Yes.
And I wanted to mention Joshua Gabriel. Thank you for your super chat. It went with what Bobby was talking about and with real burnt O's. So I put it up there, but appreciate both of y'all there. Let's see here. Dante says, let's stop complaining about the offense. They are who they are at this point. Every game is going to be stressful. Accept it. So no more date nights on Saturday.
Look, I mean, that's it. I mean, it's like you got to – I think we're going to see. I mean, Sark talked yesterday like he's going to make the changes. The Oklahoma game plan needs to be the game plan moving forward. And I know people may defend you differently, but that's the way it needs to be. Because here's the thing I'm not going to agree with anybody on. Texas isn't explosive enough. Georgia won 2 national championships with running backs that ran 4.65 and receivers that didn't run 4.2 in the combine. Offensive line's not good enough. Clemson won 2 national championships with a bunch of 4th, 5th, and not drafted offensive linemen. There are a lot of different ways to win. A lot. But I tell you this in the SEC, you better be physical. That is the one thing that you have to be. You can have all the we can talk all the personnel people want to, but Georgia won 2 national titles. They didn't have Xavier Worthy out there. They didn't have running backs that ran 4.3 out there. Well, you know what they were? They were physical as hell. You know what Alabama was? Physical as hell. Yeah, they had talent, but they were physical. You have to be physical. Or the rest of it's just talking points to me. Sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Bobby.
We'll say it. No, I mean, I'm just thinking to myself, they did have Brock Bowers, Jerry.
That's fine.
he's a supernatural super freak. I mean, look, physicality is certainly a piece of it, but even when they're physical, I don't know that they're performing.
You got to
that's I feel like other than Oklahoma this year, I'm like, and by the way, they're certainly physical on defense.
Yeah.
So Jerry's talking primarily about offense, I think.
Yeah.
Don't want to speak for him, but that there's some legitimacy to that. But even when they're physical, they're not necessarily delivering. So there's something there. There's something there.
And I put this up on the screen a moment ago, but I wanted to read it, Bobby. I saw you laughing when I did. UT Tyler guy said, is this the new moniker? All gas, fast clutch release, sudden brakes. Just having a little fun, as I'll always be a diehard Longhorn. Y'all are great.
Yeah, I like that one. I think Splendid Daddy had one too. That was funny. Look, we could use all the monikers we want. Mama said we should take a knee 3 times and then punt. Maybe they should have just kicked to start overtime. I will. Hey, that was another thing that Sark did yesterday, Jerry. I had come out and said, look, there were a couple things that I would have liked to have seen Sark do. He literally said in the postgame or in the press conference yesterday, he should have been more. He should have told DeAndre Moore to stay in bounds. Number one, he specifically said that. I remember I brought that up, and then he specifically said that was a bad play call to put Brandon Baker in a one-on-one blocking situation when your running back's 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage in overtime. I did not like those 2 play calls. I like the play call actually up to DeAndre Moore, but you got to make sure the guy stays in bounds. I mean, I say that because, Jerry, you'll remember this. Auburn lost a game to Alabama in an Iron Bowl because their running back ran out of bounds. And Bryce Young had 40 seconds instead of 5 seconds to lead him to victory, and sure enough, he did. So, anyways.
Look, DeAndre Moore, experienced player, has to get down. I mean, he has to stay in bounds in that play. Has to. And that's one where, it's been talked about a lot. Should Texas staff, should he have been told? Well, he's played. How many starts does he have now? And he was trying to make a play, but at the same time, you got to understand you're down and distance your time on the clock and where you're at in the game. And that's all. The situational football in that instance was major.
Yep.
Kentucky should not have got the ball back.
No. Or if they did, it with 10 seconds left.
With 10 seconds left. Yeah.
Jerry, can you do me a big favor and tell everyone about Vaughn Lane this
I
morning?
sure can. It's from Texas football Saturdays to NFL Sundays, from ACL Fest to Formula One, which was last weekend. The fall is stacked, and Vaughn Lane is the smart way to get there. Forget TSA lines or fighting I-35 traffic. With Vaughn Lane, you board in minutes at luxury hotel terminals. Then it's just 22 big first-class seats, each with Wi-Fi, outlets, and an onboard attendant bringing snacks, drinks, and yes, even beer and cocktails. You'll arrive relaxed and ready for kickoff, the concert, or family time. And with booking open through December, you can also lock in Thanksgiving and Christmas travel now. Go to vaughnlane.com, use code OTF25, and save $20 on your first ride. Vaughn Lane, elevated regional bus transportation. Never heard a bad word about Vaughn Lane. Anybody we've talked to, by the way, has said great things about Vaughn Lane. And that's not just, I mean, Bobby, that's just anybody we've talked to. You know, people that took Vaughn Lane up to the Red River Shootout. Everybody's had great things to say about Vaughn Lane.
No stress, man.
No stress.
I'm at my age. I need less stress. Just telling you, no stress at all with Vaughn Lane. None.
What you also need is some AG1, Bobby. AG1.
Try to get that green stuff down me. I dare you.
Man, I have a strict morning routine. Used to, I'd wake up, I'd take a bunch of vitamins, a bunch of supplements. Took forever. And then, of course, I'd get ready for the show. That all changed when I heard about AG1. I've been using it for about a year now. It's a daily foundational nutrition in one drink. Pretty much every nutrient you can think of is in this thing, with 5 probiotic strains and 75 plus vitamins and minerals. AG1 Next Gen replaces the need for a multivitamin, probiotics, and much more. I even got my son Colt hooked on it. He drinks it every morning before football. So we both can tell you that we have a lot more energy. We have better digestive support. A great wellness routine all starts with your gut. AG1 is the way to go. And it isn't just another daily supplement. It's a daily micro habit that supports whole body health in one scoop. All you have to do is head to drinkag1.com/ontexas to get a free welcome kit that includes a bottle of vitamin D and free AG1 travel packs when you first subscribe. That's AG1, drinkag1.com/ontexas. And it's good stuff. Right now, I got the berry flavored. Been using the berry flavored travel packs. I even have the D3 and K2 that they sent as well that you get with that welcome pack. So be sure to check that out. Good stuff for sure. All right. We got more super chats, a lot more actually, that came in while we were reading those. And we got a couple from Jeff Carey. He says, Bobby, can you explain the difference between NIL and university revenue sharing? Everyone is conflating the two and implications of revenue sharing cap. Less pay for the players next year.
They are conflating the two, but the reason why is because they are part and parcel the same thing. University rev share is capped at $20.5 million per year per school. If you're a major conference D1 school, that doesn't mean you have to spend all of that, but you can spend up to that. Now, some of the cost of attendance and scholarships and Alston, what they call Alston payments, can be taken away from that, leaving a lot of schools with about 18.5 to 19 million to share among their athletes. Okay, that's university rev share. NIL, true NIL, is supposed to be above and beyond that. So that's Arch's deal with Warby Parker or Red Bull or whatever he's working with, right? Or other players. So yes, there is some conflating of that, but the rules right now are so nebulous, Jeff. They're trying to tighten them up, but you have right now, you have what do they call them? Collectives already going ahead and paying players because their paperwork has been held up in committee for 3 months. And I look, I'll just say this. This is a mess. And until or unless they really get together and start talking to the players and getting player representation, it's going to continue to be a mess. Whether it's Cody Campbell and his idea of fair or this SCORE Act that they've got in Congress, neither one of them work, in my opinion. Neither one of them. And the reason why is they don't understand. Neither one of them allow the free market to be a free market. They want to control the market. It's not okay. Well, we need it to be fair. No, life's not fair. I mean, look, the Yankees spend more, the Dodgers spend more than anybody else in baseball, the Mets, etc. Texans and Ohio State and Notre Dame should be able to spend whatever the heck they want, in my opinion. The Texans is doing, you're going to put the same caps on Texas that does $330 million in revenue share as you put on Fresno State. That sounds right.
Nah, no chance. By the way,
they have. That's what they've done.
Yeah, that's what they've done. Hey, by the way, something else is happening in college athletics that if you're only paying attention to college football, you may have missed yesterday. And it's going to be very interesting what's going to happen here. Louisville signed a G League Ignite Pro, the NBA farm system player, and they're bringing him back to college. Okay, that is very interesting moving forward, because this stuff can start trickling over to football too, by the way. When all the international kids, by the numbers, started wanting to come over to play college basketball, that's a big deal, because they may not have 4 years of eligibility, but they're saying, okay, you have 2 because you've played 2 years of pro ball overseas. Okay, well, if a G League guy can go to the NBA AAA farm system and return to college, why can't an NBA player? Why can't Cam Williams, for instance, play 1 year with the Eagles and somebody offers him $2 million to come play right tackle, and then he leaves? We're headed for a very interesting place when a guy that's playing in the G League can come back to college and play college athletics. Now, I don't think it's college athletics anymore. It's professional sports. And Bobby, I don't know if you saw that or the chat's thoughts on that, but that's very interesting, because what's to keep a guy who was a 7th round pick that wasn't happy his first year in the NFL from coming back and playing another year of college football if he has a year left?
Specifically in the NCAA rule book, it specifically eliminates that ability. So there's long held rules about that as it relates to football. Basketball, Jerry, I don't know as much about that as other people.
It's going to be challenged is what's going to happen, though. It'll be challenged.
Well, it should, at that point, it shouldn't make it, because it's been that way forever. And there are reasonable eligibility rules around that. I mean, so you choose to go do something else, you don't get to come back to college and continue your.
But I guess the question really is going to become on this: is it really college athletics anymore? Or is it just it's minor league?
It is if you do that.
Yeah.
It is minor league if you do that. It's BS, is what it is.
Yeah. So I don't think football, if this happens over the next few years in basketball, I don't think football will be able to stand a chance to hold as is.
No, they need to get. That's why they have all these things lingering.
Yep.
Around, and they just keep kicking the can down the road, and it makes me want to throw a mug like this into a wall and watch it shatter as my brain just fragments and goes into shards of ceramic everywhere, because it is BS, period. And anyways, look, get some leadership, stop placating to all sides. And, I don't think Cody Campbell's got the right answer, because he wants it to be like socialism almost, which is hilarious, as he's like the biggest capitalist. You have the SCORE Act in Congress that wants to give in to all the universities. Go get a deal that allows them to do whatever they want to do. Stop the madness, man. Stop the madness. It's not going to hurt Olympic sports. The University of Texas just took $20 million out of its budget and increased scholarships. So you telling me that they can't do that again? The answer is yes, they could. I mean, they make the University of Texas does $330 million in revenue. They have and should have, like in Major League and NFL team, if it did 330 million, you know how much would have to go to the players? What is it? 50% goes to players instead of the 20 million they're allocating or 30 million they're allocating with scholarships. It should be 170 million, 160 million. I'm not, those are huge numbers. I'm not even advocating for that, but 25%.
Yeah. By the way, Mark, it makes no sense. You know, I agree it makes no sense. But 2 years ago, did you think anybody from the G League would be coming back to college, play college basketball?
Is that because they are international players though, Jerry?
He was not. I mean, it doesn't make that's my point. It doesn't make sense. Like, so, but 2 years ago, 3 years ago, nobody ever thought you'd see a guy that's played games in the NBA G League come back and sign with a college basketball team, and Louisville's bringing him back to college. So no, it doesn't make sense. I agree, but it's how far is it going to go from there? Because if it's going to be pushed to see.
We got some more super chats here, and let's see. Juan Garza wants to know, was Ryan Day a good play caller?
He was good. I don't know that he was great, and he did make a change at play caller last year. Brought in Chip Kelly, hired him away from as the head coach of UCLA to be the play caller for the Buckeyes, and it's seemed to have worked. And I will say this, Brian Hartline is calling plays for Ohio State right now. I'm not so sure that Ryan Day doesn't have a big piece of the game plan, because Brian Hartline's a first-time offensive coordinator right now.
And then we have another one from Jeff Carey. My weekly question: how did our transfers play?
Well, Murad Washington didn't play much.
Brad Spence played well.
Brad Spence played.
Mason Shipley played. Jack Bowmeister played well. Yeah. Jack Indries had an opportunity.
Emmett Mosley, I mean, he had.
Travis Shaw, Cole Brevard were both in on the on the stop at the goal line.
Yeah,
they're playing well.
Yeah,
Texas did a good job in the portal with who they took. The question that is lingering is, should they have taken more, given what they have today and what we're looking at, especially at running back and offensive line?
No.
I mean, the Cedric Baxter situation, what we can talk about offensive line and maybe a misread of what they had. The Cedric Baxter situation with how bad his knee was messed up, it really causes some concern there for me. Like, that was, you were relying on either Jarrett Gibson to come on because he's an inside runner, or I don't even know, or you rolled the dice and came up snake eyes for the first 7 games at least.
All right, we got a few more to get to, but first, Bobby, I'm going to let you tell everyone about Texas Road one last time, please, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. Our friend Rick Vavro and the guys at Texas Road, your full-service solution for major road projects across the great state of Texas, with the full support of multiple crews performing utility, dirt work, concrete, and asphalt. Texas Road provides on-site concrete through volumetric trucks for smaller volumes. They're able to complete road building in a high-profile environment of your choice. That is Rick Vavro and the team over at Texas Road.
Thank you, Bobby. And let's see here. Like I said, we got a few more this morning. Guy. Thank you, Guy. He says, how many teams send 12-plus players to the NFL 2 years straight and get better? This team is young. It takes time.
Element of truth to that. Element of truth to that, guy. Nobody's denying that.
Ohio State's undefeated, but
yeah, but did they get better this year? Are they better this year than they were last year?
Maybe at quarterback.
Well, that maybe, but I don't know that they're better overall.
Yeah.
Georgia lost a bunch to the NFL. they lost them back-to-back. Texas did lose heavily. I mean, 23 players to the NFL draft is ridiculous in a 2-year period. So there was always going to be some of that. The thing that was overjudged or overthought was the idea that Texas and these young players were going to be more ready than perhaps they were. And they haven't been. Fundamentally, have not been.
And then Steve Cap wants to know, will there be a true quarterback competition in the spring?
Don't know.
Don't know.
I wish I could answer that. I think it depends on the next 5 games, Steve.
Yeah.
Texas is 5-2. They find a way to get 9-3, even into 10-2. I don't think there is. If they're 8-4, 7-5, I think there needs to be a competition. And I would say this: there needs to be a competition regardless, but there are levels to that, right?
There's levels.
Yeah.
But a lot's going to depend on what happens the last few games, like Bobby said. I mean, like Arch has to play better. I mean, but everybody, like the whole thing does on offense. The whole thing does on offense, but him himself, yeah.
Needs to be is there going to be a competition at right tackle? Should be.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not just quarterback, in my opinion.
And then I think our final one this morning from Jonah Williams enthusiast. Jerry, who's had a worse season so far, Modern Day or Texas?
Man, I don't even know modern day's
either.
record this year. I'm looking this up right now. 5-2. They're third in their league. Yeah, they hadn't been third in their league in a long time, man. So I would say Modern Day because, yeah, I mean, Santa Margarita, Servite, yeah, St. John Bosco. Hey, look, if Bosco's 8-0 and 3-0 and you're 5-2, 2-1, you're going to be spending more private school NIL next year. I'll tell you that.
Private school NIL. There you go.
That doesn't go over well in Modern Day. I hadn't even looked at their record, honestly. I didn't know they were 5-2 and third in their conference. That's pretty funny.
Look, Texas is in a precarious situation. Oh, sorry. You have
Go ahead. I'll let you read it.
Sounds like excuses when we look all over the country and see better offense with lesser talent. This is a coaching failure. Okay. I think I agree with you.
Yeah.
I mean, look, when we say failure on offense with 170 yards, it ain't just the players.
Yeah.
I mean, so at the same time, Texas somehow managed to win the game. And I will say this beyond all this other stuff. Arch Manning has protected the ball the last 2 games. As many negatives as you want to say, all this other stuff, he has done that one thing as well as you can do it. Okay? But yes, abject failure otherwise. 172 yards, it's not just players, and it ain't just coaching. It's a whole shebang. Yeah. What I was going to get at in this Texas team right now, people are hearing a lot of negatives about the offense. You need to start thinking about how good that defense was. I rewatched the game again. I told y'all that this morning. They finished the game exactly how they started. They stopped Kentucky on a 3rd and short at like the 20-yard line, and then a 4th and short at the 20-yard line to start the game, right? Turn the ball over on downs. Kentucky didn't score on their first drive, even though they moved it down there. And then you get into overtime, and the defense does the same thing. Those guys, they're playing with a lot of heart, a lot of smarts. They're not always the most brilliant. I think the crossing route is going to, maybe be the bane of my existence at some point when you drop Cole Brevard into coverage. But the Texas defense has a spine that is sturdy. Really impressed with them thus far. So it's not all about the offense. And so it's not a coaching failure across the board and all this, woe is me stuff that I think some people talk about. And I wanted to say this because it ties into what I heard from Colin Simmons, what I heard from Ethan Burke yesterday, and that they're not throwing themselves a pity party right now
No.
about their offensive abilities. They're working to get better. And so I think the team right now actually has the right mindset. Now, will that produce something different on Saturday? Let's see. But I think the team itself, from listening to those guys, they have the right mindset right now.
And I want to add that tremendous portal additions. Jack Boomeister has helped the defense. I mean, and Michael Crone was a true freshman punter last year, right? That didn't even have spring practice. But Boomeister is one of the top, whatever you want to call it, 15, 10 pro prospect punters in college football right now. He has done a lot to help Texas maximize their defense. Last year, Texas was back against the wall a little bit more. Now, the offense has still put the back against the wall in terms of how many plays they're like 81 plays at Kentucky. That's just you can't do that against anybody good and win a game. I don't think anybody knows that. But Boomeister has really helped Texas maximize defensively in terms of flipping field positions. That has been big, I think, for this defense in this team in general. I think that's under maybe not because the offense has been so bad. It hasn't been talked about enough how good of an addition Boomeister was to the Texas defense, even though he hasn't made a tackle all year. He has really helped maximize this defense, and that will be huge the rest of this way for Texas.
Texas doesn't win that game without excellent special teams.
No chance.
No chance. Yeah. No excellent special teams, no turnovers, and great defense.
One other one real quick. Spank B says the roster y'all have assembled on the channel is phenomenal. Great mix of talent. And Jerry, no more leave of absence, please. Your knowledge and personality was truly missed.
We need more funny. We need more funny, and not Texas bloopers on offense. We need like more funny right now.
And we need fewer people that eat corn dogs with mayo on them. And
I might do that. Saturday in the Watch With Us for every first down Texas gets against Mississippi.
8 corn dogs.
And if I throw up a corn dog on there, that may be what the channel needs right now.
You could have went with 8 corn dogs on Saturday.
I mean, I think I could have kept them all down, but maybe not.
Oh.
All right, guys, that's going to do it for today's episode of Coffee and Football presented by Texas Road. I want to thank them along with AG1, Prize Picks, Kirby Lane, Bubs Naturals, and Vaughn Lane, all for sponsoring today's show. Of course, thank you all for tuning in as well. The super chats, the questions. Don't forget to head on over to ontexasfootball.com. Use promo code OTFOG when you sign up. Get a full year for just $39.95. Again, promo code OTFOG at ontexasfootball.com. And Bobby, what do you have for folks later today on the YouTube channel?
Well, Jerry's doing a recruiting update about not only Torrey Davis, but also some of the other guys we've talked about. Make sure you check that out. That'll be really insightful. We also have some other news and notes coming out tonight. We've got a live stream as well, but we've got several different pieces for you today. Also, online, there should be some recruiting news and notes coming out today as well.
All right. Well, we will be back same time, same place tomorrow. Hope you all have a phenomenal day. So for Bobby Burton and Jerry Hamilton, I'm Blake Monroe, and we'll see you then.